It's the same grade, I think. So we'll do both of them.
I was reading the
We'll do both of them. We'll do both of them. Whichever one they want. Both of them.
We're gonna put the two copies.
Just ask everybody to write in the results for the citizen participation. So that you don't need to get, I mean, so this is just an honorary thing. Come in and chat. Just moving things around.
All right, Mike's on. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we give thanks for the democracy alive in our country and for the freedom we worship you. Help the elected government and all the positions of power and authority to govern wisely and for the common good of all. Amen.
All right. If no one has any objections, I wanted to move around the schedule a little bit. After roll call, we have a member of the Clifton Heights Police Department we need to honor this evening. And then after citizens' participation, there's a presentation from the manager's report. I'd like to move up, if that's all right with everyone.
The lights on.
Can't hear.
Is there a microphone?
No.
Yeah, lights are on. Sorry about that.
Lights on, please, if you're not.
Check 1, 2.
We're going to modify the schedule to honor a member of our Clifton Heights Police Department after roll call. And then after citizens' participation, we have a presentation from the manager's report that I wanted to move up to the beginning of the meeting. Okay. All right, so we'll do roll call first. Mr. Resnick?
Yes.
Mr. Braun?
Yes.
Chair is here. Ms. Borelli let us know she was, pardon me, not going to be here this evening. Mr. Gorman?
Here.
Mr. Cannon?
Here, present.
Mr. Swan?
Here.
Mr. Fagioli?
Here.
Right. So I guess I'll turn it over to the chief.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Tonight I ask permission to give a commendation mark to one of my officers. And this is, the commendation reads, on May 20th, 2024, a victim reported to the Clifton Heights Police Department fraudulent use of their credit cards at several locations after dining in a local restaurant. The victim further stated that there was a party of 2 women and a man seated next to he and his wife who continually changed their seats, bumped into their seats during the course of their dining. The victim, looking back, was very suspicious of their behavior but didn't think anything of it. The cards and $20 that were located in the victim's wife's purse hanging on the rear were described. The rear of her chair were stolen. The group of individuals is reported to have left the restaurant hastily after a couple of drinks. It was only after receiving fraud alerts from the victim's credit card companies that the victim realized that theft had occurred. The wallet and the stolen cards were surreptitiously returned to the wife's purse during the commission of the crime. With little information to go on, Sergeant Berry began an investigation. During this investigation, Sergeant Berry was able to obtain video evidence of the suspected trio entering the restaurant around the same time as the victims, as well as leaving the restaurant. Sergeant Berry was able to track down video that showed the suspect's vehicle and was able to follow that vehicle through several locations in the southeast part of Delaware County with the use of both in-house crime cameras and street crime cameras. Sergeant Berry followed up with the businesses where the purchases were made and and was able to recover video surveillance footage of the purchases in progress. With the existing video of the suspects leaving the restaurant, their clothing descriptions, and physical appearance, Sergeant Berry was able to link the individuals from the restaurant to the persons fraudulently using the credit cards at several locations. This was only half of the investigation. With the use of his network of law enforcement colleagues, both locally and statewide, available criminal databases and criminal records, Sergeant Berry was able to positively identify all three individuals. Sergeant Berry issued warrants for these three individuals within a very short period of time. Sergeant Berry's determination, knowledge, and networking capability, along with his proven ability to uncover evidence from so many sources with laser focus on the most minimal clues, brought this crime to a close and justice to the victims. The residents of Clifton Heights and the Clifton Heights Police Department are fortunate to have a professional law enforcement officer such as Sergeant Ryan Berry protecting their lives and property. Knowing every officer employed by the Clifton Heights Police Department has a dedicated career to complete this mission, Sergeant Berry and those like him should give every resident confidence that this department works tirelessly to ensure public safety in our great town. Ryan, if you'd like to come up, present with this commendation now. If I can quickly add off of that strip, the victim in this matter was a retired law enforcement officer with 30 years of experience. And he approached me to tell me how absolutely amazed he was of us being able to identify these three individuals and have warrants for them in such a short period of time. I can tell you that only a few short years ago, this would not be possible if it wasn't for the infrastructure that we have put in place and that this council has given us the ability to put in place in this town. So I thank council as much as I thank Sergeant Berry and the other officers in the Clifton Heights Police Department who work really hard every day to do that.
We're lucky to have you.
So as you can imagine, there was many hours that went into this investigation. This just proves that, you know, in my opinion, that we have the best police department in the county. You know, Sergeant Berry went beyond the call of duty to get this done. And, you know, most people, you can imagine you're at a restaurant and you're getting all these, you know, messages on your phone that your card's just been hacked, right? And then find out, you know, what Sergeant Berry did and went the extra mile to get this done, that, you know, those purchases didn't go through, you get your cards back. It's just amazing that we have police officers like that in Clifton Heights, and they're all like that. And that's, you know, from the leadership of, obviously, the chief of the police here. So it's just a great job all the way around. Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is citizen participation. If anyone has any comments regarding items on tonight's agenda, they may come up and address, give your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes. Right, well, sir.
My name is Mike Sani. I have two property in Clifton Heights for the past 20 years. And then 15 years before, I have no problem with the Borough never being here. I don't know none of you.
What's the address of your property?
This is a few addresses in Sycamore and East Madison. So,
You live in Clifton Heights?
yeah, I used to live in Clifton Heights. I live in Upper Darby.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So within a few years ago, I started receiving ticket after ticket after ticket in this property. Concerning tenant have a small swimming pool for their daughter. She fixed that swimming pool back when she received a notice from the inspector. And then tenant went down to pay this ticket, and they told her that, don't pay the ticket, landlord will take care for it. And he's get me ticket after 2-3 months for $600-700. And so on, this accumulated over the sofa outside and over another sofa. I would be struggling. And this one all comes because of John Good, Mr. John Good here. He taking ticket after ticket, excessive amount of ticket. Now, after long consideration, after long thinking about this matter, I asked a lot of neighbors. Neighbors asked me, 80 years old lady, asked me to cut her grass because the borough will come and give her ticket. The citizen and the resident in Clifton Heights live in fear, live in worry, live in a scary way. Is that what it is? It wasn't like that before at all. I used to receive a call, said the grass is high. Next day I cut the grass, problem solved. Now it's ticket after ticket. Are you desperate for money that much? $600 for ticket over swimming pool? Or tenant left the sofa outside or something like that? This is totally ridiculous. This is not the way what citizen or resident of Clifton Heights deserve. They deserve a little dignity and a little respect. And that's what the policy was before. But I don't know now how we're doing this policy and how it runs like that. That is not acceptable. People want to make a motion against that. People want to make a petition against that, and so on. This will carry on more and more and more, unless you solve it in a way that go back in the days. For me to cut off the 3 minutes, maybe finish. Back in the days, people used to stay by line to check the mayor in. Now, nobody know the name of the mayor. You know I respect you, I like you, all right? But now, nobody know the name of the mayor. Live in and reside in Clifton Heights for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know, Madam President, if you need some address to that, but Mr. Sini is somebody that has come before the courts many times before with counsel Mr. Gould. I have represented the borough, with Mr. Gould in various prosecutions of Mr. Sini and his properties. In fact, I think that, Mr. Sini doesn't give you the whole picture. Mr. Sini gets multiple warnings each and every time one of his properties, some people would be tempted to call them slum properties, that do not comply with the codes. In fact, the residents of Clifton Heights are not fearful of the borough government. Those who comply with the laws, but landlords who don't comply with the laws, who've received multiple warnings and notices, do have reason to be fearful that they're going to get cited. I know Mr. Gould has some pictures here, but
these were taken yesterday of the properties. And as you can see, this is the property where the grass is cut. Between next to it are Mr. Snyder's overgrown properties. He did not receive a ticket yesterday on these. We strive for voluntary compliance with all of our residents and all of our property owners. As he stated, he usually gets many phone calls as to what needs to be addressed. Unfortunately, once those phone calls fall on deaf ears, then unfortunately we have to take enforcement actions. Mr. Snyder currently has 3 vacant properties in the borough that he is not registered that we're currently waiting a court date to address that.
that's, as Mr. Gould said, we are not a property management service for this owner. You get courtesy phone calls asking you to come and cut your grass the first few times. After that, as I said, we're not a property management service that has to contact you. An owner, and 99.9% of the owners in Clifton Heights take care of their properties, cut their grass when the grass gets long. This property owner, usually wants us to let him know when it's time to do something to take care of his property, which is not the case. So we've been in court before. I have no doubt we'll be in court again because of, and most of the time when we have property owners that we bring to court, we get, the property owners get there and they're at least somewhat contrite. They recognize that they didn't do what they were supposed to do. There was some reason for it. And very often we end up waiving the fines if they just take care of the problem. This is a property owner that has never been contrite, has never been cooperative when we go to court. And, just simply the residents should know that unfortunately, this is the type of property owner that the property maintenance codes are in place for.
I would also, John, Chair, if I can, John reports directly to me, I take it. I know the job he does, I get many phone calls of his compassion for some of the people that have a problem. And also, we've reached out to some of the volunteer agencies that help people. But they're the people that, he strives and works hard every day to protect the borough's image out there. As you know, town can go very quickly if you ignore some of the high grass weeds. We spend a lot of time making sure we've added an extra inspector out there. We get compliments from a lot of real estate agencies that say we're very professional, and they do respond. If they don't respond, then that's the enforcement process. We think John wants to do on a Thursday morning is show up at court and spend 5 hours in district court. He'd rather be out there doing his other duties. So I can tell you, I work with a lot of inspectors in my day, and John is the utmost professional out there. So.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, he is.
This gentleman also came to my office about a year ago. We talked in my office. He was very upset. He mentioned a couch on one of his properties. This was a couch that was sitting outside for over a year. John gave him several, warnings to please get rid of it. It had burn marks in it. It was soaking wet. I mean, it flies in it. We gave him every opportunity to remove it. And then, he was saying that we were harassing him. I don't know how that could be when you get multiple warnings to remove, an indoor couch. So the original reason it was out there was a cigarette that fell on it and they were just going to air it out. Well, you air it out for a day or two and you bring it back. You don't leave it out there for a whole year. So this couch, it might still be there. I don't know.
Wasn't like that. I know that. It wasn't like that. I have a right to answer.
What's up?
If you want to discuss
Yeah.
the situation after the meeting, I'm happy to chat with you.
Yeah, just I want to show you a picture of the property what you mentioned. This is a cut yesterday. That picture.
If you can stick around, I'm happy to hear you.
All the property is cut and decent. The
I'd like
sign
to
you have
allow-
have Camera.
I'd like to allow
Normally-
anyone else.
Normally you put camera on criminal and fugitive and thieves. But now we have to put camera to protect yourself from ticket.
We need
This is.
we need to move forward with our agenda, sir.
Since yesterday. The grass been cut
If we
yesterday.
can't have you sit down, I'm going to have to ask
And,
you.
That's all right. Once again, you show that you don't think the rules apply to you.
Rules apply to
You don't think the
everybody.
rules
20
apply to
years.
you, and
20
why don't you
years
show
under
up?
the rules, sir.
Why don't you show up in court
You
and
know that
present your
20 years
evidence?
Under the rules, and now you're going to twist the things the way you want it because you're expert in that.
Sir, I will speak to you after the meeting if you're willing.
I would
Can
like
you
to ask
please
you,
sit
yes.
down?
Yes.
So I can allow others to have an
I
opportunity.
would do that.
Okay,
But this is the answer.
All right. thank you. All right. Is anyone else interested in public participation this evening? Okay. All right. Next, I'd like to allow representatives from Long and Nyquist to come up and provide a presentation for us regarding some grant opportunities.
Sure. Thank you. Solicitor, Mayor, members of council, members of the administration. I'm Jason Fitzgerald from Long and Nyquist, and we have Mike Long here. I have worked with you all in my former role with Penn Strategies and have enjoyed that opportunity. And thanks to the hard work of the borough manager and all the leaders here, the borough has been very successful in obtaining grant funding. There are a number of requests that are pending with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and then also a federal earmark to help really continue to get towards the completion point for the school district project and some other things. And so we are asking tonight, I believe, for a year-long contract to continue the work of the borough manager in advocating to secure funds, important state funds and federal funds to finish that project. And Long and Nyquist is a company that's been around for a very long time in Harrisburg. It has a very solid track record of delivering results for their clients. So again, I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you may have. And also, I'd like to let Mike Long introduce himself today. I know most of you, but many of you may not know Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Long. I won't track this. Jason did such a nice job and knows most of you.
know some of you as well as the mayor, the manager now. And we've been in business for 18 years, serving a whole host of clients. In Harrisburg, I was chief of staff in Central Pennsylvania for 25 years prior to starting the firm. We have 16 registered lobbyists, the largest firm in Harrisburg. Jason has just come on board, which we're excited about. But all of those folks will help the borough in any way we can. So that's all I need to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to just say this, we'll be bringing up under the manager's report. I asked them to come down from Harrisburg. They have a long trip back home, so I thank you for finding the opportunity. Jason's been with me and the mayor, about him the first time at the Borough's Count conference. Brought him on board, and we've been successful. It's every day something's coming up across our desk. Jason's moved on. One of the components that we did not have as a borough, a small borough, which most big municipalities do have, is the lobbying side of this. I know Mike served with my dad on the Senate side for the chief appropriations. Jason was also in appropriations, so we usually hire the people that know where the rocks are, but lifting those rocks up and getting that money. We have well over $2 million that came into this borough so far. We have about another $3 million in the hopper in the state government, and another appropriation from Senator Fetterman, who has reached out to us personally with our success of the project on Springfield Road with the multimodal, which is a 3-step process, local, state, and then on the federal. I think the efforts that we've been able to provide both the borough, before I got here under Cindy's leadership with the actual budget, our auditing capabilities, and our financial management over the years since I've been here, I think have been exemplary. That all go towards the grant application process. On the police side, we received the largest police allocation for new manning for 2 full-time officers at $550,000, kind of unheard of at a borough level. But you have to have that, putting the grants in, not having the person on the ground. I know Jason spends a lot of hours on that. We get calls on weekends, night times, just that personal touch. I think his move to this next step will allow more people on the ground helping us out here at the borough. We have a school project going on as we do. But next thing we're looking at down the road that Jason and I have spoken about is Main Street, getting some of these stores back up and running. The new budget, if you watch the new budget, I think it was something like $250 million the Shapiro put into understanding that these small boroughs need a rejuvenation. It's not just about the big cities. These are mom and pop stores now that need renovations, storefronts, signage, parking lot signage. The things that we're doing here in Clifton could add to that flavor another couple of dollars. So we met with them. I feel very confident, and when I come up for it, I hope that we can move forward with Jason. And I think we have a great relationship potential in the future. So thank you.
Any questions from anyone on
I have a
council?
question. And where do we stand with Penn Strategy working on that?
Their contract is up July 1st, and we're working with them to the end of the month, and we're going to transition over.
And there's nothing going to hang over that.
Up to that.
So, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll bring administrative. Rock and I spend daily on the grant administration part. Jason has staff that can help out. We're looking at some of that coming in here. Because what happens is you spend more time sometimes having someone else do it than just doing it yourself. You have to wait. And then when they call, you got to stop doing what you're doing rather than having it inside. Rock and I were just talking about the other day. It's like 2:00 on a Thursday. Well, Rock may have the chief. The chief may have something. I have something. Well, then you can't do it again for 3 days. And then 3 days comes up. It's like, so we're going to be working with direct staff that be able to punch this through. So
I know like Jason does a lot of work on it. He works hard on it, and I appreciate everything he's done for Clifton Heights.
Sometimes on Sunday night, I'll be here and we'll be available. We just go through it. Would take normally an hour. We can just blow right out. It has that kind of experience and contact. Thanks for that question.
Any other questions? All right. So next up, we'll continue with, we need a motion to approve the minutes for the June 18th, 2024 council meeting.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Mr. Fagioli made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gorman seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is reports of the borough officers, the financial advisor.
Thank you, Madam President. We're halfway through the year. Things look good. We're well within our budgetary terms for the half the year. We collected approximately 95%, a little bit more of our taxes and sewer and sanitation fees. So we're really on course to be equal to our last year. We collected over what we budgeted. We always budgeted a little bit lower than 100% for tax collection, and we budgeted and we received, well over what we budgeted. And I think we're on course to do the same thing this year. So tax collection has been very good, and all of our expenses are within our budgetary levels, projecting them to the end of the year at this point in time.
Any questions for the financial advisor? I'll entertain a motion to accept the financial advisor's report and pay the bills.
I will so move.
All right, Mr. Resnick made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Braun seconded it. We'll do a roll call. Mr. Resnick?
Yes.
Mr. Braun?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Swan?
Yes.
Mr. Fagioli?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is the police chief's report.
I have nothing further than my written report, other than to compliment this council, the mayor, and Mr. McCosey on the foresight that we've had with being able to apply for these grants that we've gotten. We are able to put them, we're on the cusp of putting on new officers. We've increased our physical infrastructure within the borough that assist us with crime fighting, such as cameras and things of that nature. And we are on in the beginning path of accreditation through the Pennsylvania Police and Chiefs Association, which will reduce our liability insurance and things of that nature when it comes to fruition. So again, this council has worked tirelessly to get the police department where we are now. And I think we are pretty much the enemy of many police departments of our size with the infrastructure we have, the manpower we have, and the council that I work with every day. I'd like to show my appreciation for that. Thank you.
And we're also going to be doing a conditional offer of employment for 2 new officers this evening.
Yes,
Mr. Evan Bozak and Mr. Eric Hollenbach.
Mr. Bozak's okay.
Should I do a motion or do you
Yeah,
want to make? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to make these conditional employment offers.
So moved.
Okay. Mr. Gorman made the motion and Mr. Cannon seconded it. We'll do a roll call. Or just,
A voice vote's fine.
okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
I'd like to introduce Mr. Hamba, who happens to be in the audience tonight.
Thanks.
He's in the
Welcome.
process of going through our final stages of employment backgrounds. When that is completed, which will be shortly, probably within the next couple of weeks. We anticipate everything is going to go well with that. We hope that both officers on the street by August 5th. Officer Bozak is a part-time officer with us. He could not be here with us tonight. But both officers come from a very good pedigree with some good background.
And so, Madam President, just in terms of future, what we'll do is, as they go through the final stages of the background checks and the examinations and that sort of thing, if those are satisfactory to the chief, he'll come back and recommend the council adopt a resolution appointing each as a full-time civil service member of the police department.
Any other questions for the chief? All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the police chief's report.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Gorman made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Braun seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next up is the fire chief.
One thing that we'll be sending a check over to the fire company for the allocation for the half of the tax year for the 3 mills, and then also $50,000 for the ambulance. Do you recall we allocated $50,000? So we start. We should have enough funds in there.
Yeah, we do that. And 25 is already gone over.
Right.
And so another 25, we didn't cut that check yet, but we have that. And then there was another check for half of the village.
Okay, just keep it in mind.
Any questions for the fire chief? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the fire chief's report.
So moved. Second.
All right, Mr. Resnick made the motion. Mr. Gorman can second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next up is the engineer's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few things to bring to your attention, and I will be brief. The road program is on schedule. Once PennDOT approves the documents, we expect the work to start within the next week. The pre-construction meeting was held today, and that is moving along. The Passive Park improvements, that's still on schedule to start work in the beginning of August. The fire department of Blashers, PICO has finished their work, and we expect Higgins to be back on site within 3 weeks to complete that installation. And as far as all 2 Baltimore Avenue, our surveyors are scheduled to get that work started so we can create a base plan and then sit down with the borough manager and Bob Lynn's office to develop that scope of work.
Any questions for Mr. Kelly? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the engineer's report.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Cannon made the motion. Mr. Fagioli seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next is the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't, the action items that I've been working on are underneath the manager's report, and so
Okay.
Mr. McCoy will discuss them. The other thing I just wanted to, I guess, reiterate or raise or just lend my voice to was I have been involved with Mr. McCoy in terms of the evaluation of the advocacy groups that we have. You know, I don't think anybody has any question that our first year with Jason was tremendously successful in terms of the amount of grant funding that, you know, we have received and he's been able to identify for us. And so with this, I mean, the question really is, and now Jason has joined Long and Nyquist, and while we continue, we talk to what's left at Penn Strategies, I'll say, you know, Jason was the key, you know, at Penn Strategies. Penn Strategies was the company, but he was the one that was the key to the work that got done for us, that got us these grants. So in a way, I kind of was thinking, I was like, it was almost going to Long and Nyquist, which is, you know, the equivalent of this year's Phillies team, you know, in terms of advocacy groups in Harrisburg. So it's almost like a Trey Turner or a Bryce Harper, you know, joining the Phillies. You know, you kind of get the best.
John went to Chicago to see the Phillies. Field of dreams.
I'm big on baseball analogies this summer, but it really is. Like I said, I mean, we had somebody that we were terrifically that has worked out terrifically for us, joining an organization that, you know, I think even the other advocacy groups in Harrisburg will tell you is second to none there. So we kind of get the best of both worlds. So I know that, you know, sort of it's in essence the renewal of a contract with Jason, but it's just a different company this year, you know, during the manager's report. So we would recommend that.
Any questions for the solicitor? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the solicitor's report.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Mr. Fagioli made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gorman seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next up is community development and code enforcement.
Thank you, Madam President. As everyone's aware, the Clifton Heights Middle School project is starting off. I had the opportunity today to meet with the exterminator as well as the project manager to ensure that the extermination and abating is taking place prior to the demolition activities. We'll keep a close eye on that. Myself or one of the inspectors in my office will check that job site daily to make sure there's no issues with any of the neighbors on the new properties. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Gould? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the report for community development and code enforcement.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Gorman made the motion. Mr. Resnick seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next up is the manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first 2 items deal with the same grant application for $3 million for the Springfield Mary multimodal additional money to come in for the road. Both of these are required as part of the grant submission. John's been working on it. If there's anything to add to that, John, other than-
No, I mean, this was actually, I think, the first application that we made under Jason's guidance last year. Was the Commonwealth Financing Authority. Last year, we applied for $3 million. We were awarded $1.7 million. So we're kind of going back to the same well again, right? That's what we want to for further funding for the Springfield Road Corridor Improvement Projects, part of the school project.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2024-06, authorizing the submission of the Pennsylvania Multimodal Transportation Fund grant application from the Commonwealth Financing Authority and designating borough officials to take action in support of such the application.
So moved.
All right, Mr.
Second.
Cannon made the motion, Mr. Gorman seconded. We do a roll call vote?
The voice
No.
vote's fine.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
The next one on the agenda is for an arborist that we were looking at to do the parks. I put RFQs out for people, getting all over the places. Speaking of JP, I'm going to put it in the actual park bid that's going out for the actual pickleball court, dog park, park renovations for Diamond Street, all that. This way, we'll have it in the bid. We'll be able to have facts. We'll put a spec together, which was there, but I guess they're so busy with the storms and all. We need, this way we'll put it on the contractor's requirement to hire an arborist and have it as part of the bid process. Just a little concerned, we're gonna put this kind of money in there. We have some older trees that may need trimming or some dead trees that we've been able to identify. We did some remedial work, but it's a lot better to have it as part of a contract than just as they fall down, spending thousands to take them out. So that's just now an information. I originally wanted to bring that up with the cost and the contract, but we'll defer that. Next one up is the contract itself for Long and Nyquist. Speaking with them, John and I were able to work out they're going to maintain their current contract price at $60,000, which will provide all the same services and additional services of working in Harrisburg, working for us individually with representatives and doing some lobbying efforts as far as that. In addition, sometimes I'll give you an example that I'm interested in, that's really excited about. Everybody knows the three months we played around with Oak Avenue, Springfield Road, Paul and Harrisburg. That would have been an excellent opportunity to have them reach out and meet in Harrisburg with PennDOT and break through all that bureaucracy to get down to where the outcome really came out, which was a common sense outcome. Don't put the left-hand turn lane in. So things like that, I think we'll benefit from. So it'll be subject to solicitor's approval, but it's identical to the same contract we have. See a motion for that.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion for the Long Nyquist and Associates contract pending the approval of the solicitor.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Gorman made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Braun seconded. And we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Resnick? Mr. Braun?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Swan?
Yes.
Mr. Fagioli?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
You guys, I know you have a long ride. Thanks for coming down. I appreciate the presentation. Have a safe trip. The next item is the solicitor spoke about Pliget and what Pliget represents. It's a financing method that the borough can increase some of its interest and secure funds. We're going to be moving some dollars into that to move it into there. In order to do that, I had to do some research on application process. So what we have in front of us tonight is the actual positions that each borough official has in relative to banking and how it works. So in front of you tonight is those applications. It basically spells out I, as the manager, have the right to be able to review it, deal with it. That I can't change accounts, open accounts. I can't write checks. I don't write checks for the borough. I authorize, but I don't write the checks. So I can authorize similar to that. Cindy Leitzel's firm, Stella, has all the rights in charge of writing the checks, transferring funds, doing the things we instruct her to do, or council authorizes her to do. The next one is the president and the vice president of council. They have all the authorities of signing the checks and author in financial instruments, being able to sign financial instruments. And Gianna Martin is the treasurer. She has full rights to do everything, open accounts, checking accounts, and they're all bonded positions. So in front of you tonight, what they need is a copy of the minutes that council has recognized this form. It's in front of you, and that you're authorizing it, and then Chris will put it in minutes and certify as the secretary, and then the accounts could be opened up with those people's names, and we could transfer money in. Is that cover that all right there, so?
Mhm.
Okay. That's what we need a motion to be able to put up the form from Pliget and those recognized officers, which is Tom McCosy, manager, Susan Britt is president, Destiny Borelli. I don't think you have to do all that, John, just for the form, or you want the name of the names?
Yeah, I think it just a motion to approve the submission of the authorized signatures to Pliget. We already have an existing Pliget account. We're not opening a new account or anything like that. But we are going to plan to sort of move things around within Pliget to gain on the interest. And I think what we saw was, the Pliget account was open some time ago, and all the authorized representatives have changed except for Peggy, but otherwise, for the most part, everything's changed.
Okay.
We're just naming those authorized persons.
So I will entertain a motion to move forward the authorization paperwork for Pliget accounts.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Borman made the motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Mr. Swan seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Next up, I just want to give an update. These school project permits have been issued out. There was a little bit of earth moving today, which is not total with earth moving that we're looking at. They have to put in a stormwater management socks along the entrance there, because they'll be riding trucks and things in there. So that's the only thing that's happening until the next 12 days. They'll be doing heavy exterminating in there. And the difference is we have the actual contract that I gave the school district hired the person. Brian Razzie, our health officer, has reviewed that as making recommendations just for a follow-up on some items that he's going to be looking at. If we do end up with a lot more rodents than we're anticipating, they will be tested for any type of diseases or anything like that, but we don't anticipate that. He has done an inspection of the area. There are some holes, actually, a lot of groundhogs, but there will be heavy poison put out there, which we cannot do as a borough. Now that it's fenced in, they can do what they call ground abatement and put actual poison down into the holes that they see. They're primarily identified at the Oak Avenue corner of the building in the walls. That's where the identification is. There are some over at the wall by the where it drops down into the ball field in that area. So we do know where they're at. The 12-day extermination should work well. Our part of it is we're exterminating the internal sewers and also the storm inlets like we normally do. That will not occur because it has to be after a major storm. If we put it in the sewer today, it'll be washed out when the storms are coming. So our exterminator will be on. That's over the next 2 weeks. This contract goes all the way through to the end of the project. This company is monitoring and staying on it. Contractors for a 3-year period, I believe, until 2026. So we're working well with the district right now. There's a project manager up there that's very well versed in construction. He's communicating with John and I every day. Right now, we'll be connecting the power for the lighting, that whole substation out there by the snack bar. They'll be taking down fencing, they'll be cutting trees, but not, well, you may see tree cutting this week, but you will not be seeing root removal. Like, they're not going to be digging up the stumps. They'll just be taking down some trees and things like that. So we'll have it up on Facebook by the end of the weekend. Any concerns or calls, just call us. They're very reactive. There's a project manager on site as well, and we're looking forward to getting this thing underway. He anticipated, was talking the other day, the good thing about starting now is that your windows will be closed when the major dirt moving goes on. So they're anticipating a 33-week process that they'll be able to start construction coming out of the ground. Doesn't mean the dirt won't finish, but that puts us like, early spring. So a lot of that earth moving will be done while the windows are closed instead of in the middle of August and things like that. Next up is the report on the great parade that they have on the 4th of July, and then also the 4 hour fireworks. I have a proposal in that I'll be bringing next month for the fireworks company that did this. I think everyone agrees it was a fabulous performance. They're trying like heck to push somebody or move with us to schedule that's on 4th of July night, which we would prefer. If it doesn't, I'll have to come back to council. We're going to be putting this in the budget. The next 2 years, you will not have any spectators on that field. I mean, the chief and I discussed, even when the school opens up, I'm not so sure how many people, but based on what everyone could see and what occurred there, I think it was a great night. I think we should just maintain what we have, but definitely lock it in. It'll either be July 3rd or 4th. I think we'll try. Brock, what do we ever determine on that day? It's a Friday night, right? 3rd? Wednesday.
Yeah, midweek.
Midweek.
So it didn't affect, the normal schedule.
Yeah, right. Okay. So we'll let you know as soon as I get. I was hoping to have something in my hand tonight, but the guy didn't call us today. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the manager's report.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Cannon made the motion, Mr. Resnick seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Up next, council reports. Mr. Swan?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. Resnick? Mr. Fagioli?
Just what Tom said, the parade went well. Thank you, Ed, for that parade that you put on and everything. And the fireworks were phenomenal, so.
Mr. Cannon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two small things. One small thing and one not so small. The other day, a resident came and said he noticed a problem on North Glenwood Avenue as to the street being undermined. I came down and saw Tom right away. As it turned out, it was something that really needed to be addressed. Our infrastructure, of course, is quite old, and these things happen. Concrete falls out of manways and pipes get undermined, but the problem was addressed immediately. Tom called the Antonio company, they plated the street, and now the work's going on to repair it. Now on to a much more important matter. The school was dedicated Thursday night, and for all those that are present that work so hard to make sure that the interests of the citizens of Clifton Heights concerns were addressed. The chief, JP, John, the mayor, Harris, all the council members that were active during this period. Suzanne, you yourself, Tom, goes without saying the hard work you put in, and John Gold, you too. But I think there was one person that was not recognized for his hard work. The president of Boys Club, from the moment this project started, even though he wasn't president at the time, worked very hard and ensured that the children of Clifton Heights, the boys and the girls, their activities were addressed in a proper way. Even after it was resolved that we weren't going to have the fields for the kids for 2 years, Steve Gates went above and beyond to make sure that not only kids had a place to go to and continue their activities, but also that the facilities he would use would help in raising funds to help the Boys Club maintain the fiscal cost of having their activities. I think we would be remiss if we didn't thank Mr. Gates for his hard work. Hey, Steve, thanks.
Anything else, Mr. Cameron?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right. Mr. Braun?
Yeah, I just want to thank Ed, appreciate that. I mean, I wasn't here, but I heard, actually Steve posted a bunch of stuff on it, and it was just great parade and fireworks, and it was top of the line. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. And then I also want to thank Ed for all his hard work with the parade. He puts so much effort into it every year, and this year was no different than any other year. We also had the assistance of our police department and our highway department that kind of make this day possible. So the day went very well. So I appreciate all the efforts. And then the fireworks were quite successful. So thank you to the manager and the chief for helping allow that tradition to continue. And that's all I have. Mr. Gorman?
I was able to see the fireworks from Wincliffe and Oak, and I stood up there with a bunch of some newer neighbors that have just moved to town. And they were extremely impressed by the parade, by the fireworks, by just the police coverage. They were impressed with the fire company at the parade. So I think it shined a light on the borough for the day. And these are new neighbors, like I said, and they're so happy they moved into Clifton. So it worked out well. So to those, I say thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer?
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, I'm just going to ask for a moment of silence for what happened on the events of this week with past President Trump and the death of civilians. Thank you. So I want to move 4th of July up, just like what John Gorman said. I checked with all my neighbors on my street, and there's 2 that are brand new on that street, and they said the same thing, that, where they came from past, they didn't, that was such a beautiful parade. It was such a great fireworks display. And of course, I've called him a rock star before, and he's still a rock star. And it starts with Ed Jones. And of course, with all the help from the police and the borough manager, those events don't happen. So thank you from my office. Appreciate it. A couple other things. Clifton Heights Boys Club football and cheerleading still has signups all this month on Thursday from 6 to 9, and they will be at the Icebox on Springfield Road. We have an East cycling and shredding July the 27th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's right here at the Borough Hall. Tuesday, July the 23rd from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. is a blood drive right here at Clifton Heights Borough. Very important. So if you have a chance for that to show up, it's well appreciated. And that is all I have for my report. Thank you.
Any old business? Any new business? We'll have our final public participation. Anyone has any comments, items they'd like to discuss this evening? You have the opportunity to come up.
Man of the hour.
State.
Jones, 214 North Sycamore Street. I'd just like to thank the borough, Tom, Chief, for the fireworks that we were able to put on this year. It was a little difficult this year, but I guess we got through it and we kind of went smooth as possible. It was a little bit different, and moving forward will be different, I guess, moving forward as we move on next year and years coming. And I want to thank all the volunteers that made the parade successful this year, everybody participated. Well, they thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you. Do it again next year.
All right. Anyone else? All right, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Nah.
Um,